Today, we've got an epic head-to-head battle between two of the most talked about golf balls in the mid-premium performance category. The Wilson Triad golf ball versus the Srixon Q-Star Tour golf balls. Review and comparison. We're diving deep into distance off the tee, greenside spin, feel, durability, and overall value to find out which ball deserves a spot in your bag. The product we will talk about first is Wilson Triad golf ball. Alright, let's start with the tech behind the Triad. This is a three-piece urethane-covered ball, which immediately puts it in that premium or near-premium category, right up against the likes of the Srixon Q-Star Tour and Titleist Tour Speed. Wilson's key innovation here is something called tri-balanced construction. Basically, they engineered all three layers, the core, mantle, and cover, to have perfectly uniform density. Why does that matter? Because it keeps the center of gravity dead center in every single ball. That means truer rolls on the greens, straighter flight paths, and more consistent performance from shot to shot. Then there's the high MOI perimeter weighting. Wilson moved more mass to the edges, increasing the moment of inertia. In simple terms, less side spin off the driver, more forgiveness, and a more stable flight path. The ultra-thin cast urethane cover gives you that premium tour-level feel and more bite around the greens without totally sacrificing durability. And the 362 dimple aerodynamic pattern keeps the flight stable even in tricky winds. Some newer models even have a raw finish option. No glossy coating, just pure feel off the club face for players who love that traditional look. So how does it perform? Let's start with the long game. Off the tee, that high MOI design really shows its value. The Triad feels stable through impact. It doesn't balloon up or overspin like some softer balls. It just flies straight. It's slightly lighter than average at about 1.599 ounces. There were no major defects or off-center cores, which is something even some bigger brands struggle with. The urethane cover is thin but well bonded, and while it's not indestructible, it holds up for several rounds easily. Player feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. Some players do note it feels a touch softer than the Wilson Staff or Staff X balls, so if you're used to something firmer, it may take a round or two to adjust. But overall, the Triad just inspires confidence, especially when putting. The alignment lines help frame the ball nicely and make setup easy. As for durability, it's pretty solid. Even with that thin urethane cover, you can expect multiple rounds before it shows serious wear. Unless you're slamming it into cart paths or rocks, it should last just fine. The raw finish versions might show scuffs faster, but that's part of the charm. Some players even prefer it for the enhanced feedback and non-glare look. Ease of use is great. There's no learning curve here. The new slightly softer compression, around 80, means it's playable for a wider range of swing speeds. Let's talk price and final thoughts. A dozen Wilson Triads retail around $35 to $40, depending on where you buy, which is a steal for this level of performance. You're getting a ball that competes with the big names for a fraction of the cost. And with Wilson's strong quality control, you're not gambling on consistency. Wilson Triad golf ball pros and cons. Pros: excellent value for a tour-style urethane ball. Stable flight and true roll on the greens. Great quality control and consistent manufacturing. Ideal balance of distance, control, and forgiveness. Cons: slightly lighter, so a touch less roll or distance for some. Not as much max spin as Pro V1 or TP5 on full wedges. Urethane cover can scuff if you're rough on it.
The product I will talk about next: Srixon Q-Star Tour golf balls. It's meant to deliver that tour ball feel and greenside spin, without the premium price tag. Srixon built it using their signature fast layer core, a spin skin coating with serum for better friction and spin, and the 338-speed dimple pattern to boost aerodynamics and reduce drag. It's basically the bridge between their distance balls and the true tour-level Z-Star series. In simple terms, this ball wants to give you tour-like performance without tour pricing. Let's talk performance and tech, because this is where the Q-Star Tour really earns its reputation. It's built with a three-piece construction, a soft center, firmer outer core, and a thin urethane cover. That fast layer core gives you speed on full shots while keeping the impact soft and smooth. Now, the spin skin with serum. That's Srixon's nano-coating technology. It's designed to grab your club face grooves at the microscopic level, so you get more spin on approach shots and chips. The 338 speed dimples help with a more stable flight, cutting through the wind and maintaining a penetrating trajectory. Testing shows that this ball launches mid to mid-high, with lower driver spin for longer distance and higher wedge spin for stopping power around the green. Golf Monthly recorded about 2,061 RPM of driver spin, great for distance, and 5,141 RPM. One thing we've got to mention: build consistency. Earlier generations of the Q-Star Tour had some quality issues, uneven layering, concentricity problems, even roundness defects. But the 2022 version showed major improvements. In my Golf Spy's Ball Lab testing, it scored 75 out of 100, which is actually above average compared to all balls tested. That said, a few samples still showed minor compression variations, meaning performance might differ slightly depending on where the ball is struck. So, while this version is much improved, it's not quite as tight in quality control as top-tier tour balls like the Z-Star or Pro V1. Still, for most golfers, the difference is almost impossible to notice in real-world play. Now let's talk about what really matters: feel. Off the putter, the Q-Star Tour feels buttery and responsive. It's soft but not mushy, kind of that sweet click you expect from a quality urethane cover. Around the greens, the spin skin coating works its magic. You get that grab and check you want on pitches and chips. On full shots, it feels softer than a Pro V1 or Z-Star, perfect if you don't love the firmer tour ball feel. Some players say it's a bit less crisp off full irons, but for most mid-speed golfers, it strikes a beautiful balance between soft feel and control. And because of its lower long game spin, it tends to fly straighter and stay stable, great for those who fight slice spin or ballooning. For a thin urethane ball, durability is surprisingly solid. Most users report finishing 18 holes with just light marks or surface scuffs. Only direct cart path hits or bunker abrasions will really show damage. The matte Divide version, that two-tone color, does pick up dirt faster, but it's purely cosmetic. Just wipe it down every few holes and it'll stay looking clean and spinning sharp. Let's be real. Price is where the Q-Star Tour shines. At around $34.99 per dozen, it delivers tour-level materials and near-tour performance for a fraction of the cost. It competes directly with mid-tier urethane balls like the Wilson Triad or Callaway ERC Soft, and in many tests, it performs just as well. Srixon Q-Star Tour golf balls: pros and cons. Pros: excellent value for money, great greenside spin and control, mid-high launch, stable flight, multiple color and alignment options. Cons: slightly less crisp feel on full irons, can lose a touch of distance for high-spin players. Matte version shows dirt easily. Wilson Triad golf ball versus Srixon Q-Star Tour golf balls. Differences: Wilson Triad golf ball leans somewhat softer, especially in newer models, to enhance feel. Srixon Q-Star Tour golf balls are medium firmness by testing standards and are positioned to accommodate golfers who don't generate very high swing speeds. Flight trajectory behavior: Wilson Triad golf ball is often praised for flies long and straight, good stability off tee. Srixon Q-Star Tour dimple and aerodynamic design, 338 dimple pattern, is aimed to improve drag and maintain a penetrating flight. Who are they good for? Srixon Q-Star Tour. Reason: its compression and design are tuned for moderate swing speeds, giving you more greenside bite and control without overly sacrificing distance. If you want more spin around the greens and feel a bit firmer responsiveness, Q-Star Tour is appealing. Wilson Triad. Reason: it has a softer touch, especially around the greens and putts, and is praised for its balanced performance. If your game favors consistency, straighter flight, and you don't need maximum spin, Triad is likely more comfortable for you.